Good morning. It's 5 a.m. just after here in Calgary. We're going to work on some shoulders today, and it really is kind of interesting. As you've practiced in your own world, how when you free up your shoulders, you can free up your hips. Same goes the other way. But we're going to do something almost exclusively in the shoulders. We'll bring some hips into it later in the practice. But it'll be interesting for you just to notice what happens as you free up and through here, as you explore here, as you become aware of what's going on up here and how that impacts down here. So let's just see what happens. We're going to do a lot of work today of bringing this arm into extension. Okay, so if I stand this way, we're going to be bringing the arm into extension. So there's going to be some tissue, hopefully, releasing this way. But more importantly than that happening, I want you simply to notice how this arm bone is moving in the shoulder socket. Where you love to compensate, where you love to brace, where you love to hold your breath. Notice all of that as you move, okay? We're going to be needing a strap and a chair and later on a block. But let's begin with the strap. We're going to take the arms over our head initially and just circle them around like so. And you can keep the elbows bent if it's a little early in the morning for you, like me, and then just take it easy, noticing what your breath is doing. Notice where your feet are on the floor. And just get a sense as you do this movement and breathing, just how you've been with your night, how your sleep was with you, and just where you're at in this morning. And then if you're tuning in later in the day and watching the recording, just sort of notice how you have been with your day and your day has been with you. Okay? Great. Now, one of the things that can happen when we bring this arm back, same thing may have happened as you brought the arm back this way, is the ribs can poke up. Now, commonly what people are taught is to hold the ribs down when that happens. What I'd love for you to play with today is just to keep the ribs where they are. What can happen is if you over-engage through here to keep those ribs knitted in, as people will say, is you can get your diaphragm limited, the upper abdominal muscles can get overly taut. And think about what I mean by upper abdominal muscles. We've got transversus and rectus and obliques. Those all attach down here. So if things aren't functioning well here, then that can have an impact down in here. Also diaphragm, pelvic floor. If that diaphragm can't excursion downward for that inhale, then that can have an impact on the pelvic floor. So just some food for thought there, okay? We're gonna start here next with palms facing forward. We're just gonna bring the arms back a little bit, like so. Okay, so this is the articulating joint, the arm bone in the shoulder socket. And then bring the arms up a little bit here and do the same thing. Arm bones in the shoulder socket. Now notice if your pelvis wants to tip forward. And then bring the arms up again. And notice if you want to do this in your motion. And then just notice it may be as you come up higher that you're starting to feel something or you're starting to brace or grip somewhere else in your body, and just notice what that is. And if you need to keep your arms down here in order for that not to happen, then do that. Knowing that as you move well, then your function improves and you'll be able to do more. Okay, good. So now let's take this arm back like so. So we're going to now bend the elbow here. And then we're going to bring this arm back. So watch how my forearm is not dropping. It's staying parallel to the floor. Yeah? Okay, good. Let's bring the other side into it. I want you to imagine you've got an energy ball between your hands, kind of like they do with other practices like Tai Chi or Qigong. Just see if you can feel a bit of energy between those hands. I'm not pulling my shoulder blades together. That's on purpose. I'm just focusing on bringing the arms back into extension. That's it. Okay, and then let the arms come down. Take a moment. And then palms face down and let's go like this. Okay, so now we're moving the elbows back. The articulating joint is the arm bone in the shoulder socket. So we're going pulse and pulse, and then flipping the hands and pulse and pulse. Palms down, palms up. And we're going to add some breath where you exhale on the pulse back. So the exhale, 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 exhale. Yeah. And then just notice what you're doing with your feet and with your standing. Good. Okay. And then let that come down. Okay, now I'm going to scooch up closer to the camera so you can see this more clearly. You're going to take this arm and you're going to start to rotate the arm in the socket. So notice that you can actually do this by just moving the forearm and not moving the shoulder. I want you to really think about it being the arm bone in the shoulder socket and the hand follows. So not that. See where my finger is? My arm's not moving, or the shoulder blade, or the arm bone in the shoulder socket's not moving. It's just my hand and my forearm, right? I'm doing a pronation, supination. That's not what I'm aiming for. It's a rotation motion at the shoulder socket. Good. Okay, now other side. Motion here. Okay, good. Now let's come back to this one. Now what we'll do is you're going to take that arm into extension and do the same thing. Okay, good. And then into extension, do the same thing. Okay, now notice if you want to start to use up and through here to do this motion. Notice if you want to brace through your ribs to do this motion. Just be aware of what it is that you're wanting to do, what's going on with your pelvic floor, what's happening with your belly. Okay, and let that go. And now just stand, and now notice. Now notice. Okay, so now let's grab a chair. And bring one foot up onto your chair. And let's take a twist towards this leg. And now watch this arm. This is going to look familiar. You're now going to bring that arm up and just add a little bit of extension through that shoulder joint if you want. Now that might be too much, so you can always bring the arm down or just bring it right here. It totally depends. But the idea is it's easy just to put your hand out and make that a supination motion from the forearm and have it all be forearm. I want you to think about making it a rotation at that shoulder joint. Okay, good. And then let that go and switch sides. I'm going to turn my chair so I can continue to see the screen. And then here we go. And then rotate. And then move the arm at the shoulder joint. Notice your jaw and your head and your neck. There you go. Good, and then unravel that. Okay, good, and come down. Now notice where you're at. How do those shoulders feel? And where are you at in your legs? It's not uncommon for some people to feel more grounded in their legs when they start to release or shift what's going on up here. We're going to come back to your strap. You can also use a doweling for this too. I'm going to show you both. Doweling or a broom handle or a hockey stick. You're going to take the arms up overhead and just bring the arms down so you can see how my elbows are coming to about 90 degrees. And you'll come as far as your eyes. Now you might not be able to come that far. So you might be here or here. You get to decide, right? So you're in to extend, you're moving this arm bone back in the shoulder socket like so. Ribs are not poking up, right? But they're also not holding in. So the arm comes back a little bit more in through that shoulder so that you can be behind your head, but your head's not coming forward to do it. And then the arms come down, right? So if it's with a piece of doweling, then it looks like this. Same idea. And so just notice as you're coming from higher up and you're lowering down, notice if you want to do something like this. Yeah? And if you're having to adjust once you're down wherever your end position is, then maybe you've gone too far. Yeah? All right, lovely. Okay, let that go. Okay, now let's just have a feel. Where are you at now? Okay, so now let's bring this away. We're going to come onto the floor. Okay, so now fingertips are pointing behind. Okay, just like so. And just be here. And now just lift your hips up and bring them down. So the movement is around this shoulder joint and through your hips. So you're extending through your hips, coming around those shoulders. So just be conscientious of your elbows. Okay, now from here, let's just bring the butt forward. Okay, now the tendency as people move into this is their desire to roll those shoulders forward. Okay, where I want you to begin is in a comfortable place here, so that as you come back, you're not rounding the shoulders forward, but you're allowing for them just to be in this position. And when you notice some rounding forward, you've gone a bit too far, so back it up. And then bring the butt forward a bit more. Notice if you want to kind of round through your spine too. If you're noticing that happening, you're going a bit too far. We don't want to feel anything in through your elbows or your wrists. Okay, and let that go. Okay, and come onto your back. Okay, just take a moment here and just notice what you've just done to yourself. Okay, let's come back into it one more time. Hands back. And then lift your hips. And notice if you want to do anything between your ribs and your pelvis, and allow that to your best of your ability to keep that together, to keep it connected, so that you're driving through the hip joint and through that shoulder joint and back down. Through the hip and through the shoulder. Through the hip, through the shoulder. Through the hip, through the shoulder. Okay, and then from here, bring your bum down a bit closer towards your heels. Bring your bum closer to your heels. Being conscious that you're moving your arms into extension at the shoulder joint. We're not rounding through our spine, and the shoulders aren't rounding forward. Okay, and then bring that back. All right, let that go. Line your back and notice what you feel. Okay, stretch your legs out and let's bring one right leg over towards the right. Keep that pelvis quiet, and then let's do the other side. So now you're in the lower part of a C curve or a crescent moon at the bottom. And then bring the other arm up alongside the ear if you can. If you just want to bring it up shoulder height or below that, that's fine. Pay attention to what you've got available through your side bend and through the arm motion. Okay, good. Bring the arm down and bring the legs back. And then the other side, bring one leg over. Whoops. Hit the piece of doweling. And then other side. And then arm comes up. So you're in a crescent lunge or crescent moon. Supine side bend. Lovely, and then bring that back. Okay, now we're gonna grab the block. So you choose your block height, whether you wanna do small level, medium level, or high. And just rest yourself on the block. And now just notice yourself breathing. And feel your legs and your pelvis to your ribs to your shoulders. And notice what other connections or awarenesses you've gained through this practice. And then raise your hips up, drop the pelvis back. And now notice being on your back. You can straighten your legs out if you like. And now just notice what you feel between your hips and your shoulders. And your breath and your belly. Awesome. Okay, and then when you're ready, roll on over, or you can stay there for as long as you would like. And just feel what you now notice and take that into the rest of your day. I'll be back here again tomorrow, so we'll see you then. Mwah. Take good care.